Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I wanted to share a geode cake that I made. This was an order that I had to do for a birthday party and I hope you guys all enjoy it. And if you're new here, also be sure to subscribe to my channel and also hit the notification bell so you're notified every single time I post. So in starting off, I used this cake leveler, which you can see here that it has different little points that you can measure your cake on how tall you want it or where you want to cut it. So basically how to use this, you just push it down until the wire bends slightly and then you can move it up to the size that you want to cut the top of your cake. Once I figured out where I wanted to cut the cake, I went ahead and leveled this off. When you're using the leveler, just shimmy this back and forth. Make sure you keep it straight. You don't want it wobbling because then you'll get an uneven slice on the top. So just keep that straight as much as you can. Once you do this, before you move the wire, just repeat this to all your other cakes. That way they'll all be the same size. And then you can just remove the top of that and there you have your leveled cakes. Once you've done that, go ahead and tort all of them and just again move the wire to where you want to cut your cakes, whether you want to do 2 layers or 3 layers. Here I'm just cutting them in half equally and I did that all to the rest of my other cakes. When you're torting your cakes, you might need to adjust it a little bit depending on the size of the cake that you're using. But just always keep it the same layers and they'll all be even sized, if that makes any sense. So this was a 3-tier cake and I did them, the bottom one I did vanilla, the middle tier was chocolate, and then the top one was vanilla again. And I just went ahead and put what you call a dam or barrier around the cake, and then you'll just go ahead and add your filling. For my filling, I made my strawberry buttercream, which this is super delicious, especially with chocolate cake. It just tastes like almost like strawberry ice cream. It's really delicious. So I went ahead and added 2 of the big scoops of filling, and then after I did this, I just smoothed it out and added my second layer for the bottom tier, and the middle tier I did these 3 layers. I don't crumb coat my cakes, I just go ahead and add a layer, and then after I've put it in the fridge for a little bit, I go ahead and fill in any uneven gaps that you see, which I'm filling here, and then I'll just smooth this out. And once I do that, I'll put it back in the fridge and then I'll do another scrape, I guess you can call it. I'll just go over it again and get it as smooth as I can for my final ice. And if you're not happy with it having bubbles or missing gaps, just keep on adding buttercream or whatever you're using, whether that's ganache. Just keep adding, scraping, adding until you're happy with the smoothness of the cake. If you guys want a more in-depth video, I know there's a bunch out there on YouTube of how to ice a cake, but if you want to see the way I do it, go ahead and leave a comment down below letting me know that that's the type of video you would want to see, and I'll be sure to do that for you guys. So because this was a cake order, I did forget to turn on the camera at times. If you could see the pink buttercream just off to the side, I went ahead and added tiny bits of that to the sides of my cake, and I would scrape off a little bit. You just kind of wanted like a smear of that on the sides. Anytime that you're doing a tiered cake, just be sure to add boba straws or Dells, whichever you prefer. I prefer the boba straws, they're just as strong. So anytime you're gonna stack a cake on top of another one, be sure you have your support. And I always put my cakes in the fridge until the buttercream gets hard, and that way it'll give me a chance to move the cake around in case I didn't get it quite centered. So it just makes it easier. Then I just repeated the same process, adding the boba straws to my next tier, and then I stacked my other one on top. So like I said, because I was so focused on this cake order, I forgot to film when I cut out the top tier for my geode pattern, I guess, or design. So after I did that, I went ahead and iced it with buttercream, and then I went ahead and stuck all my candy rocks. So I'm using a tealish blue rock, and then I also placed white rocks on the outside. You'll also see me cutting the cake coming up in the next clips. I just forgot to film this one. Once your rock candy has all been put in its place, this is the outcome of how it'll look. So before cutting into the cake, I sketched out a guide with my knife on where I wanted to cut it, and then I just cut this little by little until I was happy with the depth of the geode and I guess the sharpness of the sides. I just did it until I was happy with it. To get sharper cuts, I just had this in the fridge for about 30 minutes until the buttercream was really solidified. It'll make cleaner cuts, and if you have any excess that falls down, it's not gonna ruin your buttercream, and you could just remove it really easy. Once you're done with your cuts, go ahead and take some more buttercream and just fill that in. You might want to go a little bit thick on this, that way your candy rocks will be able to stick to this easily. I also did forget to record where I painted some more teal right in the middle of the geode. I just wanted more depth to it. So after I made all my cuts, I went ahead and took some food gel coloring that was teal, and I just put some vodka in it, just a little bit, because I wanted it to still be dark, and I colored this in the middle to get the depth for the geode. So for the sides of my cake, I went ahead and added some strawberry flavored candy melts for the drips, and I just placed them wherever I wanted them. Once the chocolate had set, I went ahead and painted it with this rose gold lightener. I just added a little bit of vodka into that, and remember, when you're adding alcohol, it absorbs so that you won't get any alcohol flavor, and of course you won't taste the alcohol, and there won't be any more alcohol since it's absorbed. But you can use like any type of clear extract, like lemon extract. But just take your time when you're doing this. You don't want to paint on the cake. You want to get as close to the sides as you can. Like I said, just take your time and it'll come out great. And then you'll just repeat that to all the rest of the drips that you've added. Then with the same edible paint, you just want to paint the sides of your geode rock candies. It'll give it some more depth, and it just looks so pretty when you have that on the sides. Just do that to all your geode and wherever else you want to add color, but this is just where I added mine, and it came out so beautiful. Now for my flowers, I went ahead and added like a dome-shaped piece of fondant, which there are boba straws underneath, that way it'll support that weight of the flowers. And then I added in my flowers, that way doing it by this way, it'll prevent the actual stem from touching the cake. And then you can add your other flowers however you want, wherever you want. Just be sure to use floral tape and then wrap those with cling wrap, so that way when you're poking them in the cake, it's again not touching it. And this was the end of my cake. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to this channel and share this with your family or friends. And I will see you guys in my next video. If you have any requests, again, leave them down in the comments below and I'll try to get to those. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.